Okay, we'll sort of start slowly. There's still people come in and that, so that's okay. We'll just start chatting. Congratulations, you made it. We all made it. It's pretty awesome. This is the first of the Monday nights classes we've had, I think, for almost 2 years. So with COVID sort of pushing it out and everything, so pretty cool that everybody's here today. Yeah, it's just amazing, isn't it? We're here again, doing this sort of stuff. So, yeah, look, congratulations for coming. Thank you very much for coming. For those of you who are new, then, yeah, okay. Well, this will be even more exciting. For those of you who are coming back again, I hope it's a chance to sort of like reacquaint yourselves and just get into a little bit of meditation and a bit of spiritual philosophy again, and re-establish sort of things that may have heard before. My name's Alan Malloy. I'm just me, you know. I don't know who I am. I've been given the job to be at the front today, and that's because I've studied Buddhist philosophy for quite a number of years, decades, many decades, too many. And so, I wish I could say I had that same quantum of deep understandings, but I don't. But the superficial understandings I do have about Buddhism and Buddhist philosophy I found personally very beneficial to me. And then when we try to translate that into sort of advice or principles for living or something, I do see that it's of great benefit to others. And all this wisdom that we try to talk about, and there's like Alice is over there, she's a teacher, and other teachers who are that it all comes from our teachers, our teachers who are the great Buddhist lamas. They get traced back in this life to the Dalai Lama, and then if we go back in time, all goes back to the Buddha. And so that's the Buddha there. So that's Guru Shakyamuni Buddha. He lived about 2,500 years ago. So all our stuff that we talk about, we try to keep in a direct lineage. It's like a river that flows, and it just keeps flowing, and that wisdom is a direct continuity from the Buddha, because we have learned it from a direct continuity of living beings who have actually experienced that, have actually experienced it. So it's not just theory for these people. Like for somebody like me, it's just theory. I learned it out of a book. But for them, it's incredible experiences. So what is Buddhism, and what do we try to do? Well, Buddhism just strives to solve the age-old strivings or yearnings of every living being, which is to have happiness and to not have any sorrow or suffering or aggravation or obstacles or anything. Just to have peace, really. That's the common goal of every living, I'll even say organism. I don't know if it relates to COVID. I don't know if COVID-19 wants, but it's certainly pretty good at reproducing itself and creating mayhem. So who knows? I don't think it has a consciousness, but certainly any living being that has a consciousness has the wish to have happiness and to avoid sorrow. You can even see it like a bug. When you put your foot down beside a bug, it startles and it runs away, because it understands fear and it understands itself and wants to be free of danger. And it strives to have food, it strives to have shelter, it strives to have a mate and do all those sort of primal urges. It has wants and needs. Animals do, we're mammals do, and we have more sophisticated wants and needs, and so can express it in different ways. And those wants and needs can be very destructive, as we can see in the world. So that's what Buddhism's about. It's trying to be happy and to avoid suffering and to give people tools. Now, the reason why that's so important is because we sort of make mistakes as to how to achieve that. For example, we think that happiness mainly comes from external phenomena, external things. If I have the right friend, if I have the right look, if I have the right possessions, if I have the right education, if I have the right house, if I have the right everything, then I will be happy. It's sort of like no-brainer. Just got to have enough of something, have enough of everything, and I'll be happy. And then we can see in our own life that maybe some of us have had those opportunities to have all that, and I think I have had that. And then, but still there was dissatisfaction. Still dissatisfaction. It wasn't enough. And there are many people out there who still want more and more and more, even though they've got everything. So, and then there are others who have less and less and less, and yet have a great sense of contentment. So that's where it comes to probably the basic difference between Buddhism and worldly philosophies, or any spiritual religion, I think. Maybe we could say any spiritual religion, is that when looking for the causes of happiness and the causes of suffering too, the causes of hardship that we experience, so the causes of hardship that we experience, we generally think that those are outside. So that person who doesn't like me, that person who's jealous of me, that person who gets angry at me, that country that invades me, as horrific as that may seem, then they are the cause of all my problems. And then the cause of all my happiness is if I just have enough stuff. If I have enough stuff, if I'm perfect enough, I'll be totally content and happy. Now, the difference between spiritual philosophies is say, no, wait a minute, let's reduce the emphasis on the external and look deeper internal and say, maybe the cause of my happiness is my state of mind. And maybe the cause of my suffering is my state of mind. Now that's very confronting, and it's a really difficult pill to swallow. I've been hurt by that person, and they crucified me, and I hate them, and all my friends are telling me they're a bastard, and that person deserves punishment because they caused so much harm to me. Really hard to transform that and say, well, like there's one beautiful text called Thought Transformation text, where it says in it, to somebody who's inflicted great harm to me, who's been poisonous, who's been murdered or even harmed, then I will view that person as my supreme spiritual friend. And that's how some people think, that the person who harms me is my supreme spiritual friend. Why is that? Because they're teaching me patience. They're teaching me patience and teaching me how to tolerate hardship. If everyone was just like a doctor or your loving mother who just coddled you and was really sweet to you, you'd never develop. You'd be a spoiled brat. You'd be fat, spoiled, lazy. A bit like, I can't mention words here because it's sort of public, but like certain people in the public arena who fat, spoiled and lazy people, rich people. So you'd be like that. But it's sort of, unfortunately in life, as we grow a bit older and hopefully a bit wiser, we do realise that the hardships in life is what modelled our character. Unfortunately, that's sort of true, I think. I think it is. I think it is. And we don't have to be a great spiritual philosopher to do that. We just have to survive long enough in this world to realise that it is the hardships in life which give people character. That is assuming they've got that person, or we have the tools to cope with it, to cope with hardship. If we haven't got the tools, then you're stuffed. You're really in deep doo-doos. And we'll talk a little bit like COVID and the psychological tools we can deal with mental health issues during COVID and that and what has been some of the issues. But without the tools, then you really are in trouble because I can't go outside. I'm scared of people. I'm scared of a vaccination. I'm scared of not being vaccinated. I'm scared of this. I'm scared of that. Then the whole world is just sort of like fear and intrepidation. But if we internalise things, then we can change that. We can change our reaction to the world. It's a reaction to the world that we have to talk about. And that's what we're involved in spiritual philosophy and Buddhism. So of the two causes of happiness and the two causes of suffering, there's external causes of happiness, external causes of suffering, internal causes of happiness, internal causes of suffering. We emphasise more the internal. And now how do we do that? Well, we have tools. We're like a tradesman, or a tradesperson. We have tools to train the mind, to train the mind. And the simplest tool we use Well, simple, that's absolutely incorrect. The tool we use is meditation. It's simple to vast and profound to infinite. So from simple to infinite. Tonight will be simple. Infinite, come next week. But anyhow, so they come to see the Lamas speaking, because they have like infinite. They've like it encompasses all objects of knowledge. Their wisdom. But for us, we can just start by little bit, learn a little tool to help to calm the mind down. I mean, let's face it. This is pretty amazing. We've made it through COVID. We're together, a group of strangers in a room, and you're all. It's pretty scary for some people, I'm sure, to come here, and a lot of apprehension, and it's a bit weird, a bit of a weird thing, and so, wow, I can't believe it's happened actually. I've been waiting for this day for so long, and now it's happened. I can't believe it. So what do we do in meditation? You don't have to sit, you can lie, you can sit in a chair, you can lie on the floor, as long as you don't fall asleep. You don't have to have your legs crossed. You just have, probably the most important thing when you meditate, it helps when your spine's straight. So you just imagine from here that there's a hook pulling up and straightening up your spine. And then you just sit sort of comfortably. And then we'll do this for about 10 minutes or so and just do really, really simple meditation, and just a simple breathing meditation, because that's what we do. You start off with the breathing meditation, and you sort of finish with it as you go through the various stages of developing meditative equipoise. And then, but it's just because it's such a simple object, the breath, and it's a neutral object, so it doesn't create negativities or excessive attachment or positive or anything. It's just the breath. So when we meditate on the breath, we meditate on the breath coming in and out the nostrils, and then go different ways you can do it. Some people meditate on the air coming through the nostrils. Some people meditate on the rise and fall of the stomach. We tend not to breathe with the chest. We don't do that sort of breathing. We do the diaphragmatic breathing, so it goes down a bit. And there's no attempt to control the breath, so we're not like doing some in yoga techniques where they hold the breath or anything. We don't do that. We just do it very relaxedly, quietly. We tend to sit, have the hands in the lap with the thumbs lightly touching like that, shoulders relaxed, and the mouth sort of just closed. The eyes we tend to not have open. Some traditions do. But if you have them completely closed, then you fall asleep. So that's not really good. So just sort of a little bit. They say just have a little slit of light coming in. So like all these patterns on the carpet, you should be able to see like some blue fuzziness, but not the discrete patterns on the carpet. And so we do that, and we just do that for about 10 minutes or so. So we might as well do that. But just before we start, I just forget one thing. I personally believe that this device is the destruction of mental quiescence and the destruction of mental stability. So you really have to turn them off. It's really annoying when they go off. Ding, 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 or messages, and turn it right off. You don't need to have a text message now or do anything. No texting in the Gompa. That's another. This is called a meditation, a palakang. So no texting in the prayer room here. Anyhow, so we'll do about 10 minutes, which might be for some people might never have done this before. So that's really cool. You just sit there and keep your mind on it. Now, the mind is natural. It's a bit like. I remember the first time I was forced to do this, and my mind was chattering. It was the image I had was like a group of monkeys chattering in my brain. As soon as I tried to stop the conceptual thought and focus, it was like there was, I don't know, what's a herd of monkeys? A gaggle of monkeys? What do you call a family of monkeys? A whole lot of them, anyhow. They were in my brain, and they were all going for it, all having a fantastic time, and I was trying to focus. And I thought, this is crazy. And then I believed that, this is bad because meditation's making my mind more distracted. But what I didn't realise is that actually that chatter was going on before. I just stilled the conceptual thought on the outside and the direct sensory perceptions for a while, and realised that this chatter was going on all the time in my brain. No wonder we get tired, no wonder we get stressed, no wonder we get depressed. This chatter is there all the time. It's there. So you might think that this exercise, after 10 minutes you might think this is a waste of time, my mind's totally distracted. No, it's not, because I found out a really positive thing, that the mind is chaotic. Our mind is chaotic, and that's a really good thing to learn. That's really important. And the wonderful thing about the mind is it can be transformed. So we can have a chaotic mind, and then eventually through a process of spiritual development, we end up like the Buddha. We believe in our spiritual philosophy we can attain the same goal as our founder. It's not as if there's one God or one Buddha. No, we've got 50 people in this compa, in this room. There will be 50 Buddhas coming as a result of tonight. You will all become Buddha one day. And that's what we believe. So you will take this chaotic mind and you will transform it and you will pacify it and make it pure and infinite. That's your journey. And you'll achieve it. That's what we believe. All of us have, because we all have what's called Buddha nature, that potential. We have a Buddha nature potential. So as a result of that, and probably say, as a result of today, you are creating the definite cause to become the Buddha. Yeah, good. Okay, so let's do that. Begin that journey by we'll just do some meditation just for 10 minutes, and then just try to be quiet and still. Quiet and still. Okay. Okay, slowly you can cease the meditation and bring your awareness back to the room. You can stretch your legs and do that sort of stuff. Good. These sessions are fairly, free structured. It's I hate the thought of them being like a lecture where people, because that presumes that the person giving the lecture knows more than the people in the room, and you've come in to learn something, like in a university or something. But personally, I don't think that's the case at all, because I think in this room there's an enormous amount of experience and knowledge and wisdom, and certainly things I can learn from. And so I suppose, especially since this is the first one, we're going to talk a little bit like what Buddhism can offer with some of the mental health aspects, I suppose, that have occurred during COVID, like anxiety, loneliness, depression, some of those big ticket items that were really prominent in COVID. But I suppose I'd like to learn from you people a bit, like where you're coming from, how you've found the experiences of the last couple of years, and particularly mental health sort of things. I'm sorry if people lost their jobs, so it's awful. That's really terrible stuff. Or people lost loved ones. But anyhow, maybe if you feel like sharing something about what's happened to you in COVID, and maybe give us something to think about. I'm not a guru. I do not have the answers. But maybe you guys, girls, do. Anything want to share? Anybody want to share anything? COVID was this, that for me. COVID rocks. I wanted to stay. I love 2 years of sitting indoors watching Netflix. Rock on. So no, maybe anyone like that? You can ask questions, We're not like, we don't have all the answers. We don't have all the answers. Okay. What I'll do then is we'll stop and have some questions. What I'd like to do is do the like a bit of general sort of stabilising meditation, and then at the end do something different sort of meditation. We'll finish about 9, and then you do have the opportunity to have questions, and then go outside. Do you know if we have cup of teas? Do you know if we can do cup of teas? I don't know. Are we allowed to do cups of teas? We used to be pre-COVID. We used to be able to give you a cup of tea, but hopefully there's a kitchen up there. Hopefully you can get a cup of tea, and then and have a chat and things like that. Okay, so I suppose during COVID, I was lucky. I was able to keep going to work and able to keep studying. So I'm sure, like a lot of you, spend a lot of time on a computer and everything. But it was interesting. One conference I went to, a virtual sort of conference, but it was very interesting. We're talking about some of the mental health aspects related to COVID, and particularly in relation to children and families and everything. And it did talk about 3 of these eminent, psychiatrists, psychologists, paediatricians, and others were talking about the effects. And they picked 3 things that were having major impacts on people's mental health in COVID. And when I thought about that, when I was listening to this, I was thinking, what does Buddhism have to offer? We don't prescribe antidepressants. We don't, have, anti-anxiety agents. We don't give stuff like that. We have attitudinal change. What can we do? And the sort of things I was talking about were like just that anxiety. Anxiety was one of them. That pervasive sense of anxiety, and I think we've all felt that over the last couple of years. The pervasive sense of anxiety, and I would say we were hoping it'd all be over when COVID finished, and what the WTF now? This anxiety is even worse, isn't it? So, anxiety. So what is anxiety? What is anxiety, and what can spiritual philosophy offer that psychiatrists, psychologists, medications, psychiatric hospitals, diet, exercise, what can we offer that they don't have? Loneliness too. Loneliness was a horrible thing. And I remember my 97-year-old father, who's still alive, he's still alive. I mean, he was saying how for months he just sat in his house, not seeing anybody, and he was so lonely. And I'm sure many of you have experienced that personally, or know others who experienced it. And then the last one was depression, which is gets you in the end. When enough things go wrong in life, when there's enough stress, eventually depression gets you. And so I suppose I was thinking about that, and then what Buddhist philosophy could help. And I was trying to think, we must have a wonderful 25 words or less answer. That people can come in and say, here it is, just take this and walk out the door. You're over it. No anxiety, no loneliness, no depression. You walk out that door, you smile. The world's a beautiful place. No, I didn't find them. I don't know what they are. I didn't realise I didn't have all the answers. But I think Buddhism can help. I think spiritual philosophies can help. But gee, it's a long process. We have to be patient. We have to be patient, and that's probably one of the lessons I learned from our teacher here, Geshe Doga, who's an 87-year-old Tibetan Geshe who fled his own country when it was invaded by the Chinese, and his country was demolished. His institutions, he left everything behind except the clothes he had on his back. A bit similar to the Ukrainians now, as they watched their houses and institutions be demolished behind them. And that's what he did, and he left it behind. And it was interesting, patience. He has patience. And we just, when this COVID thing was on, he said, just go away and practice what you've been listening for the last 30, 40 years from me, and practice patience, which we didn't do at all. We all panic and go, the world's going to fall, the sky's going to fall, everything's going to collapse. So we, as we normally did, we did not follow the advice of our spiritual teacher, but somehow we all got through it, and then and we're so here to talk about. So I mean, when we talk about anxiety, what does Buddhism, what does spiritual philosophy have to do with anxiety? Well, so anxiety is like this huge thing. It's huge, and I mean, we can have a little bit of anxiety, we can have a moderate of it, we can have an all-encompassing panic attack, which makes you this shrieking mass of fear and anger and torture. And it was actually interesting today. I thought, we can just do some basic meditations, do a bit of meditation, you'll get over your anxiety. But I was actually with someone today who was in the midst of a full-blown panic attack, and I was shocked at the amount of suffering that person was enduring. And I tried to think in my life if I've ever been like that, and I don't think I have. But it's just horrible, the amount of pain that there is with uncontrolled anxiety and the fear and apprehension and dread that come from. I suppose that are sort of words that come to my mind. And then, but the total loss of control, and then eventually, there's tragically there's even thoughts of suicidality, self-harm, and it's all too much, and you want it to be over. And that's a situation I was experiencing today with somebody, and I thought, wow, that's so tragic, And when we get to that stage, there is no pill. There is no one thing that can help at that stage. And I suppose I started to realise that's the only thing sometimes that can help is to reach out and be kind to somebody in a real gentle, simple way. Be kind to them, love them, show them love. Keep them safe until eventually that torture that they're undergoing settles down, and they can sort their own life out, because we can't reach into anyone's mind and pluck out that torture and put it under a cup and hide it there. It has to go through its process. That we call it karma. Karma is a whole lot of predispositions we have on our mind stream due to previous actions of body, speech and mind. And when they fruit, and it's fruited, it's sort of unstoppable, and that fruition has to occur, and then only when it's like occurred and expunged itself, then extinguished itself, then that energy sort of goes. So sometimes we just have to deal with that. So as I was thinking about that today, and then I sort of thought what I was going to talk about seemed a bit trivial, which is just meditate and anxiety will evaporate. That's a bit of bullshit, really. I began to realise that, some of these casual sort of throwaway lines, we say, "I just do this, and everything will be all right, Oh, you're feeling bad? Just do this, you'll be fine." You say that to your friends all the time. "Oh, just do this, you'll be right," It negates their experience, and the suffering that doesn't validate their experience at all. So what do we have? Now, in Buddhism we have a lifeline. When things really go apeshit and the world is falling in on you, there are a couple of safety lines we use, and I suppose this is where we talk about a concept called refuge. Refuge. And you in your own lives are going to have to seek some sort of refuge, an internal refuge. By refuge we mean like bombs are falling in Ukraine, well, you go down underground into a concrete bunker, and that's your refuge. But I'm more talking about an internal sort of refuge, and that might, and for us, and that's where we go to when the world's falling apart. I mean, that's where we go to when the world's falling apart. Now, hopefully, some of you have got family and friends. Some of you have got something you can cling on to, and some of you have got a spiritual philosophy. Some of you got lots of money. Money is a refuge, Money, you got wealth, you got good looks. That's for some people that's a refuge. But when I look at James Packer sometimes, and I feel he's one of the saddest, unhappiest people I've ever seen. I don't know. I just feel such a sense of tragedy for that man, and yet he's got everything. He's got everything. So. I sort of tried to feel that for Donald Trump, but then I just couldn't get there. I just tried. Can anyone do that? No. Okay, anyhow, refuge. Well, we think these refuge. We build these castles around us to give us refuge, but they're not what we mean by refuge. Refuge is more sort of an unfailing source of hope, of clarity, of truth. What is truth? Now, to find out what truth we'll have to find somebody who's experienced that truth. Now, in Buddhist philosophy, now I'm like a salesman. Yeah, I'm going to sell you Buddhism. Yeah, this guy here, he got the truth, man. You follow him, and you'll become like him. Her, it. Then there are female Buddhas. I'm sure there are transgender Buddhas. Yeah, actually there are. Yeah, there's transgender Buddhas, there's female Buddhas, transgender male Buddhas, there's all sorts. They come in all shapes and sizes, even animals, Buddhas are animals. So, but the Buddha is a state of mind, it's a state of mind. Now, sometimes when you're in when you're at that last gasp, and when I'm in last gasp, I remember, what was that black guy's name, and the guy knelt on his neck, was that George Floyd? George Floyd, was that his name? George Floyd. Yeah, what was the last thing he said? He said, "Mum, mummy, mama," or something like that. As he was dying, he said, "Mama." His mum, calling for his mum. That was sort of, that's where we're going to be. We're all going to be in that life. We're going to be in that stage at some stage in our life when we call for mummy or whatever that refuge is. And so, that's what we call refuge. So that's what we have in now. What I thought we might do was a little meditation. Yeah, it's a Buddhist meditation. So I try to avoid Buddhist meditations, but I thought, forget it, You've come here, you've signed up, you've walked in that door, I can do anything I want with you. So we'll do some Buddhist stuff today. Because Buddhist refuge is really quite cool. We believe in magic too. Yeah, we believe in magic, we believe in life after this one, we believe in life before this one, we believe in cosmic beings who can benefit us, we believe in other cosmic beings who can really piss us right off, and we could believe in all sorts of things. So we've got the total catastrophe, but it's really liberating. And actually, we can believe in it, but actually, I believe you can actually prove it logically. But we won't go through that today. But we just imagine that, okay, we're on that last round when the world's falling in upon us. What do we go for? Who do we cry out for? Who do we go for refuge to? That's for refuge to. And for us, it's the Buddha. And then, and the Buddha is just a state of mind. A Buddha is not a person. A Buddha is a state of mind, a state of perfection in the mind, and a state of perfection of all good qualities, and the removal of all negative qualities in the mind. There's also the Buddha's body, because the Buddha's body is a reflection of that. And the Buddha's body can manifest as anything. But then there's the Buddha's teachings, which are taught by the Buddha, and then there's what we call the spiritual community, who are mainly the ordained folk, and those who've got great realizations. And those three, the Buddha, the teachings, and the spiritual community, are what we go for refuge to. Now, I've been thinking about this because I've had a bit of anxiety dealing with a whole lot of stuff to myself, and when I wake up in the middle of the night and I'm feeling really stressed and worried, I can sit down and read a textbook on Buddhist philosophy, and that sort of helps. I can try to meditate on emptiness or compassion, and that sort of helps. But what really helps me is if I just get up and I take refuge and meditate on the Buddha, and then that calms my mind, and I know it calms the mind of a lot of people, because it's really simple. It's really simple. When you're under a lot of stress, that's a conceptual mind, and then too much conceptual thought. So we can't add more conceptual thought to an already over-conceptualizing mind. So just a simple one. So this is a really simple Buddhist meditation. And for those of you who feel, I'm not a Buddhist, I just came here, I'm a Christian, or I'm a Jew, or I'm Muslim, or whatever. I mean, they all believe in God. You can do this meditation with God, Jesus, whatever. It's really quite simple. This is a universal meditation. Just imagine that, there's the Buddha there. And we can do a simple meditation where we do a purification meditation. We imagine from the Buddha's crown here, the white light going into our crown, and then purifying, going through your whole body like this. Just blessing the whole body. Just blessing it. Filling it all. Every single atom in the body gets replaced with this white light. And even some people use nectar as well, but just use white light. And that purifies the body. So from here, this is said to be, in the terms of the energy channels and the specific foci for certain phenomena to occur in the metaphysical aggregates. See, we have metaphysical aggregates of the body. We have mind and the body and the metaphysical. The metaphysical nexus, or chakra, we call it, is here for the body, and that sort of purifies the body. So we imagine from the Buddha's crown, right here, into our body and purifying the body. Then we imagine from light, the white light, and then from the Buddha's throat, so from here, imagine going into our throat, purifying our speech. We've all got problems with our speech. And I mean speech impediments, I mean that we are really downright evil in some of the things we say, and we should keep our mouths shut more than open, because, for the various obvious reasons. So speech. And speech can be an internal speech too, is, she said that, I said that, he said that, blah, 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 blah. I wish I'd said that, I wish I'd put him down, Whoops, all that speech, that internal speech as well as the vocalized speech. We purify that. And then from the Buddha's heart, we visualize blue light going to our heart, and that purifies our mind. And our mind is where the torment begins. That's the cause of all torment. And that's where our anxiety, stress, depression, loneliness, all these sort of things happen. So this is a sort of medication. Now, if it's Jesus Christ, you can do that. If Virgin Mary, you can do that. If it's God, a symbol, it doesn't matter. It's all the same process. Body, speech, mind. I can sort of pretty much guarantee it'll work. I can really sort of guarantee this will work if you're open. If you don't want to do it, it doesn't matter. So we'll do this. This is another meditation. So this is fun. It's just fun. This is just simply fun. It's better than Netflix. How often do you finish a Netflix film and think, I feel so great, I'm optimistic, I'm suffused with life. You're not, you're going, that was so bad, But, TV does not make you happy. This makes you happy. I can guarantee when you walk out that door, when you walk out the door, you will be happy. When you walk out that door, you will be happy. Hypnotising you. When you walk out that door, you'll be happy. Guarantee it. But you will. You'll be happier when you walk out that door than when you came in. I can guarantee it. It's funny. Okay. So here we're going to purify our body. All those, you might have cancer. You might have a headache. You might have, bowel disease, heart disease. Purify it all. You might have COVID. Pure it. Then your speech, all that bad speech. Purify with the red light. So white light for the body, red light for the throat, and then blue light here for the heart. And then at the end you can do all three together. So anyhow, I'll just run you through it briefly. So I'd just introduce it, then stop, and then sort of da-da-da, stop. Okay. This will be just quick. It'll only be about 5 minutes or so. Okay. So get yourself comfortable. So in front of you is the object of refuge, your object of refuge, whatever that is. In this case it's Buddha, but it can be any other object of refuge. From the crown of your object of refuge, white light enters your crown and purifies your body completely. All your physical problems completely gone, and you are filled with a white, purifying light. Your body becomes like crystal, clear and shining. Now from the object of refuge's throat, red light comes and emanates and dissolves into your throat and fills your entire body and speech with red light. Your speech becomes purified. from the object of refuge's heart, which is the source of the mind, comes blue light, and that flows into your heart in the form of blue light, completely pervades your whole body and mind. You become pervaded by blue light, the purity of your mind. Now, from all three places together, the white, red and blue flow into you as one, and all your body, speech and mind, all your problems, all your worries, all your fears, all your physical problems, speech problems, completely dissolve. You become completely free and transparent, like an illuminating light that has the nature of love, compassion and wisdom. You are the embodiment of that. Meditate on love, compassion and wisdom. Okay, you can just slowly, finish the meditation in your own time and space. We've got 5 minutes, so we can have some questions. Hello, yeah, hi.
The person you were sitting with today, with panic attack,
Yeah.
were they able to breathe?
Yeah, the breathe. Okay, so we're talking about when someone's experiencing a panic attack, were they able to breathe? You're right, there's a lot of, with sheer anxiety and panic, there are physical manifestations as well as emotional, and like the breathing becomes rapidly disordered, the pulse rate goes up, all those sort of adrenaline type hormones and everything starts happening. So there's a huge physiological effect, which is really negative, isn't it? Yep. So slowing the breath down, all that. Yeah, that'll help. Yeah, of course. Yeah, those sort of things. I've had some people where you get them to breathe in and out of a paper bag because they're breathing so rapidly, blow off their carbon dioxide, and they develop like tetany due to what happens? The blood becomes acidified, your calcium levels drop, and you get tetanus and stuff. So then you breathe in and out, and the carbon dioxide levels rise up, and then the symptoms, and then because the symptoms increase the anxiety, which increases the symptoms, which increases the anxiety, and it becomes this perpetual sort of. And you can live like that all day. I mean, unfortunately, there are some people who live like that all day. There's perpetually cyclic feedback loops of the body and the mind are intertwined, and but you're right. Yeah, that's good.
If you
That's good. So when you breathe slowly, you're triggering this parasympathetic nerve. Yeah, that's cool. That's a good idea, isn't it? Yeah, that's good. Yep. So we can probably, and that's one of the reasons why I think in Buddhism we say we don't breathe through our mouth, because if you mouth breathe, you tend to pant, and that's not good. And if you breathe through your nose, it's slower. And also, if you breathe through here, it's a sort of a deeper sort of riff, whereas anxiety tends to be sort of more this sort of breathing, whereas we go, it slows it down. It just slows it down, slows the process down. You become more mindful, yeah. Yeah, it's a good thing. Sure. You know more than me. I know nothing. Yeah, sure.
Can you tell us what your practices are to your own personal
to get through another friggin' day without making an arsehole of myself, so without being a right other arsehole, So that's my practice sometimes, it really is. How can I not be so obnoxious or so sort of pushy or sort of, how can I be kinder? How can I be more generous? How can I be wiser? Yeah, that's my practice. I beg for it sometimes, but in reality, sort of, yeah. Okay, so if you hang around here a lot, you get practices to do. So you get practice to do a certain amount of meditation, to do certain sort of prayers, to do certain sort of visualizations. A lot of us have had tantric empowerments, initiations, so we do that sort of stuff, we try. But for me, a lot of it's to study Buddhist philosophy. I love studying Buddhist philosophy, so that can be a practice in itself. Other people practice by working and doing things. The wonderful thing about Buddhist philosophy is we don't all have to be like an austere monk or nun and be holy. We can actually do things, to do things. Just like when I came in here, prostrate, and that's like a physical action. It's really good. I like, for example, in 2 weeks' time, I won't be here in 2 weeks' time because I'm leading a retreat. This is where I'll sell you this one. I've got leading a retreat. I'm thinking, this is another sales pitch. Okay, up in Bendigo, we have a sister centre, and I'm leading a couple of retreats on a specific meditation, one that the Dalai Lama has taught us, and our lamas here, Lama Sopa Rinpoche and others have taught us. It's an intense purification retreat. It's really, so that's one I love doing. I do it a lot. It involves fasting, it involves silence, it involves a lot of physical prostrations, ritual, cleansing, the whole shebang. It's got light, colour, music, everything. Literally, lights, colour and music, yeah. It's really good. So that's another practice. But it's to purify the mind. Because the reason why we have problems in life, according to Buddhist philosophy, the reason why we have problems in life are two things. We have afflicted mental states, such as anger, jealousy, hatred, fear, doubt, wrong view about a misapprehension of reality. That's the first one. And the second one is negative karma. We've had sort of negative karma we've created, which are sort of the results of the seeds of actions that are on our mind stream. Now, both of those things cause us problems all the time. So we have to purify them. And to purify them requires a methodology. And we have some wonderful methodology, and that's what we're going to be doing in 2 weeks' time. That's why I won't be here. I'll be prostrating, fasting, and also leading a group of people through it at the Great Stupa in Bendigo. So look it up on the internet. What's happening at Atisha Centre in Bendigo, and that's where I'll be. So that's another practice I do. I love it. We've each got, like Alice, she's sitting behind you. She's got all sorts of different practices. She helps out a lot, does things like the healing group and other things. So there's all sorts of ways you can do practices. I think at the beginning, it's probably not good to meditate too much. It's good to think and to learn and to do stuff and get a bit of that energy out. And then when the mind and everything's a bit pacified, then meditate. That's just my experience, but everybody's different. Everyone's different. So yeah, so that's many other ones. That's wonderful. There's no questions. It's all been clarified. All ignorance has been removed. All doubts have been vanquished. Go, my grasshoppers out there, and sort of don't need to come back now, do you? No. So hopefully we'll see you next week. We'll do more of the same and everything. If you can find some tea and coffee up in the dining room, good luck. But we will have it one day when everyone's got used to this post-COVID sort of experience. And look, enjoy yourself. Be careful. Be careful. Be careful with your minds. Be careful with your minds. What? Next holiday? I'll be here. My crazy mind does not have a public holiday. My crazy mind will be quite active, probably even more active on that day. So yeah, so we'll see you on the Crazy Mind public holiday next week. Thank you for coming. Bye bye. Ta-da. Ciao.